Okay, I'd like to welcome all of you to another one of our paid co-founder trainings that we do on Mondays and Thursdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we just got done watching a video while we were waiting for people to show up to the call. We took the time to watch a 12-minute video regarding how to protect your crypto gains from overtaxation. Okay. Now, it was definitely coming from an American angle. Not everybody here is from the US, but let's just face it, the US is highly regulated and taxed group of people. So, definitely matters. Let me share my screen here. Okay. So I just put this onto the wall of joy right here as a must watch. I am going to put it on the website. I'll show you where in a second. But this is we need everybody to start understanding a certain concept here. Okay. At this stage of the game, things are getting more serious about what we're doing. But this video gives you a lot of what I would call hope as to, how do we, manage to get all this money without having to be overwhelmed with a huge tax bill, okay? That kind of thing. And all right. Okay, I guess that lock means that you've locked up the meeting already. Okay, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, that's what that means. All right. Okay, so then we go to the website. Let's see here. All right, so when you get into your account, you have the Explore menu. Probably right at the very bottom, we're going to put taxes right at the bottom there. And we just basically, you know, um, make a brief statement and put the video there. Because this is something I'm going to want everybody to watch because it is definitely a concern that some of the people have brought to my attention, and we want to address it squarely. In fact, I think that's the smartest thing we can do is find a way to make things work because the rich people have already paved the way, okay, in for a number of years, okay. The rich have already found a way. They've already managed to, carve out the loopholes and the things like that. And so that's why we want to prepare all of you for that because as you go into abundance, you're going to definitely be concerned about this. Am I right? You guys agree with me? Would be a concern?
Agreed.
Yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
All right. So let me kind of give you a clue, kind of how things are kind of moving right now. Okay, when it comes to, you know, let me start where we're at. Okay, let's connect the dots. Here's where we're at on the map, and here's where we're going on the map. Okay, let me just try to do it like that. So on the map of, I'll show you where we're at right now. Okay, so if we share my screen, shares. I got a little bit of a lag, so please forgive that. Not sure why we're posting that. Delete that. Stop putting weird stuff on here, Barry. All right. Let's see here. Could be. All right. Let me see here. We want to go into. Lost my train of thought. Help me out, Hunter. Are you
Honestly,
there?
I don't remember it either because I was trying to sort
Okay.
out Barry, but
Yeah. And thank you. Yeah. That's just weird. It jarred me to see that. All right. So let me see here.
yeah,
Let's
not
let's
the
go
first time.
let's go to the website, okay? And if we come to the website, we go to the bottom of the page. Okay, this is where we're at, guys. Terms and conditions. You click on that, and I don't know if you can, I see if I can make this somehow bigger. I don't know if it will make it bigger or not. Yeah, it does. I'm going to read this out loud to you guys, okay? By joining pool funding, you accept the following terms and conditions. At this time, we are within the formation process of privately inviting people to become co-founders. As co-founders that remain active by making daily purchases of pool funding coins through our system on our website, we in turn get 100% commission from our direct referrals as their payments made on our website are directed to the wallets of each sponsor, respectively. Coins purchased through the system on our website will season for 90 days and then will be distributed to the owner's wallet on the 91st day, given transaction fees are provided by the owner. We're going to come back to that word owner in a second, okay? Since we are within the formation process, we are gathering co-founders and having private discussions amongst ourselves as to the direction of a formal entity structure and jurisdiction. Therefore, each of us at this time participate at our own risk and agree to hold harmless the creators of this website for liabilities that may or may not occur. For now, all co-founders are recognized as either a living man or a living woman and not as a person under the law. In a sense, all co-founders share in the ownership of what is developing within the pool funding opportunity. Okay. So I'm going to show you how that's dot number one. And just remember the word owner, okay? That can be an entity. An entity can be the owner. You don't have to be the owner, okay? Just because you have a crypto wallet that you have access to doesn't mean you are the owner of that wallet. It could just mean that you are, whatever. I mean, in the case of a trust, you're the trustee, right? Which means you're not the owner. You're the trustee. Okay. There's a big difference here, and the rich know this. And if you're going to hang around with pool funding long enough, we're gonna basically follow what the rich do because we want every advantage we can for our members. Okay. So that's where we're at. Point number one on the map. Okay. Point number two on the map is we just let's go here. We're in the process of setting some stuff up here, guys. Okay. So I went to Chat GPT. What advantages does creating a cryptocurrency under a tax-exempt Panamanian foundation give us? And the short answer was that's an excellent and complex question. Setting up a cryptocurrency project under a tax-exempt Panamanian foundation can indeed have advantages, but also important legal and practical considerations. Let's go over it clearly and comprehensively. Okay. So then, it kind of goes da 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 da. Okay. You can do the same thing on ChatGPT. And I'll probably make a copy of this and share it with everyone. But ultimately, what it recommends is a structure that looks like this, where you have the foundation here, you have an operating company here that's for profit, okay? And then you
Thank you
have
so, so much for mentioning that about this, Alex.
what happened? Did what?
Mhm.
Let's see here.
I muted him.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay, we're good. Okay. All right, let
Yep.
me that wasn't relevant then. Okay. Let me share my screen again. Okay, watch your things, guys. Yeah, it's locked. All right. You gotta come on time, guys. Okay. Oh boy. Anyway, let's see here. All right. So I want to go to Chrome again. All right. So we have the operating company for profit, and then we have token issuance entity, which is, for distributing the coins. Okay. Now imagine under this branch here could be also, charitable trusts. Okay. So each of you could have your own little charitable trust. So basically, the token issuance entity could be distributing coins to charitable trust, charitable trust A, charitable trust B, charitable trust C, D, E, F, G, okay, to 1,000 of them, right? Could easily do that, okay? And so basically, the charitable trust, has got the protection of the trust itself, right? The foundation, so you got basically a multi-layered, structure here. Now, of course, I'm not an attorney. I don't pretend to be one. I'm just asking questions, but it's important that we ask these questions because right now, it matters. Right now, especially as we're looking at this transition, these are the right questions to be asking, okay? So very important. And obviously there's going to be a cost to setting things up like this, okay? Just so you get an idea, okay? So I asked what it would cost, you know. What is the average cost to legally set up this structure in the outline given? It's like 5 to 10,000 for the foundation, 3 to 6,000 for the operating company, and maybe a total of 8 to 20,000 altogether, So, but yeah, it's actually recommending that you have anywhere from 25 to $50,000 to kind of get the thing started, right? So that's kind of what it's suggesting there for the pool funding side of things. Now, the charitable trusts that would happen, that would be separate. That would be on each individual, okay? That it wants to have that extra layer of protection, okay, that comes from asset protection against overtaxation, that kind of thing. So it depends on each country, and so we basically what matters right now is you look at the map, okay. I think I'm frozen a little bit. Am I laggy? How's my voice coming across? Is it
Coming across just fine.
okay? My voice is not choppy because
Yep.
sometimes I'm watching my video and like I look like I'm
It's coming across fine.
Yeah, your video is a bit laggy, but voice is just fine.
okay. All right. So while we're pausing, let's go ahead and open up the chat now for everyone to go ahead and put their wallet address in for their paid training today. Okay. All right. So realize that part of making everybody wealthy within pool funding is that we have to have the legal strategies also working for us. Okay. So we want to provide as much encouragement and direction, whatever we can legally do, in that regard, So, um, but each country, is going to be, look, there's always the wealthy people. They always find the loopholes. They always make things work. It's just a matter of figuring out what each country, is doing, right? And make sure that you take advantage of it. Now, this is not a big deal if you're dealing with an income that's moderately the same thing you would normally see. So if you're dealing with an income of like, for example, in the U.S., something, 50 to $100,000 a year, you may not be necessarily that concerned about this. But with what we're doing with the multiples that we're working with, yeah, these could be way bigger than that. Okay. And we'd want you to be in a position to take advantage of it, receive it, okay, but not be like dealing with the crazy tax bill at the same time. Okay. So the most important thing, let me box this in right now. Okay. If you get one thing out of today's video call, one thing out of this training, it's what I'm going to say next. Okay. Just one thing. You must right now see yourself as the non-owner of the coins that are sitting in your wallet. You have to flip a switch in your head and think, these are not my coins, okay, as an owner. Because if you own it, you're going to be taxed on it like you're an owner, okay? That's how it works. Instead, just start thinking to yourself right now, regardless if you have an entity in place or not, it doesn't matter. It's how you think that matters. You're a steward over the coins in your wallet. So any pool funding coin, okay, you should look at them as like you're not the owner of that. You simply are the steward. You're in control. You have full control over those wallets, right? They're secured by passwords that only you know about. You know, passphrases, the 12-word phrases, whatever. You know, you're the only one that's aware of those, you know, but you are the steward over it because you don't want the disadvantages that come from owning. How many of you follow exactly what I just said? How many of you are getting it? Is it clicking through that you got to change how you look
Yes.
at these coins and your position to
Yes.
them? Okay. So
Yes,
you're on the
got it.
map. You're on the map.
Yes.
We're in formation of a new thing called pool funding, right? We've been gathering
Yes.
co-founders. Okay. Now, we may not have all the legal things in place because that costs money, right? So we're raising the money for that, right? And so, you know, but once we raise the money, that's how it needs to be used. And trust me, you know, if like our largest expense ongoing happens to fall in the legal category, I'm okay with that. Okay? Because I just don't want us to go down a path that you know is not secure when it comes to that, the legal side of things. Okay, I want something that's secure and we can structure this, right? That's one of the reasons why we're not setting up like a multi-level company. Okay. The regulations around multi-level companies are crazy all over the world. It's very hard to run a global multi-level thing legitimately because you know downlines and all that. So we're not. We pay direct. We're direct. You know, referral, 100% commission. Totally nothing. No country in the world is going to have a problem with that. Okay, no country in the world is going to have a problem with that. That's a very generous business opportunity. 100% commission. All right, but we've got to you know, keep in mind that we're not here to work against anything. We're here to try to find a way that's compatible, right? What we want to do is forge a path, but also remain compatible with the world in the sense that we're not, you know, doing anything that the world's going to, you know, shut us down later, come after any one of us later. I mean, this is where my brain is going. Okay, you understand where I'm coming from, everyone? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it good to say it out loud? You know, so the intentions are clear. We want to lead and create a path where we show people that you know by focusing on building equity, that actually you know is what is going to benefit people better than a lot of other things that people do. You know, what do most people do? Okay, I'll just spell it out for you. What most people do is they trade their time for money. It's called a job. Okay? I mean, most of the planet, that's what they're doing. But guess what? Jobs are going away. Okay? Now what? Right? So we're one of the innovators saying, okay, we recognize the problem that we're heading into anyway. We want to do something about it. We're bringing in more than one mind. It's not just my mind at work here. It's you, all of you are contributing to this mind meld. But what we want to do is we want to march forward in a way that, you know, everybody feels good about. And, you know, and that, you know, we reach levels of compliance and things like that. Okay. Now, the cost to do it that way is not going to be small. Okay. But I think we've demonstrated that we have the capacity to grow. We have the capacity to raise money. You know, look at the whales. Regardless of how the sellers have been working against us, okay, and those are a handful of people, the whales have accomplished a lot, right? They're the large contributors to what we've been doing. And obviously, we want to make sure that each of our wells are protected 100%. and they don't have any reason to lose any sleep at nighttime. Fair enough? So so all of these are great intentions, but it also comes at a price that we need to get educated. We need to you know kind of find a way to take our ideas and fit them into something where we're not sitting there with the owner card. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be the owner. Okay? Right. Back to Graham. Graham, tell me a little bit about yourself. You're in Australia, and then what's your deal in Australia, Graham?
Townsville, Australia. Been doing accounting work for, I don't know, 25 years. Did a lot of stuff when I was younger, a lot of labouring jobs and things. Um,
All
was
right.
always good at figures, even though I hate being inside. But yeah,
But
so
but but
that's
but,
my
but
story in a nutshell.
currently an accountant, right? And so
Yeah,
you're dealing with the taxation thing all the time, right? With the clients you serve or whatever.
yeah. Generally, majority of it is company work or individual work.
Yeah.
Things like partnerships, individuals, companies. Um, Generally, most accountants don't have a lot of trusts on the books.
Yeah.
Trusts have gone out of favour in the last 10 years in Australia.
Yeah.
The government, in their wisdom, went and changed a lot of the rules.
Ah.
And they've done the same thing around charities and stuff too. There's a lot of restrictions on who can be on a board of a charity.
Yeah.
I've been down that line before, and even as the accountant that set it up, I had to fight tooth and nail to be on that board.
Wow.
Yeah, the Australian government's crazy. They've just got their fingers into everything.
Right. But at the bottom line for you, you always have the option of changing your residency, and that changes everything, doesn't it? So that's
Yeah,
always
that's why I made that comment before.
yeah, yep, yep, yep. Because I mean, like if you're in China, try to do certain things, that most people consider normal. You do it in China, you're not allowed to because it's communist rule, and they've got their way of doing things.
Yeah, yep,
So, each country has got their issues, but countries like Australia are a little more challenging, more sticky. But what if Pool Funding becomes that resource and we find something that we find the best possible solution for someone that happens to be in Australia, and we come up with some kind of a plan that could be duplicated. So that's the bottom line. So again, it's a
yep.
process of
Just on that too,
education.
though, Ace. If
Yeah,
if we're talking the money that potentially a lot of us are looking at, it's to me it's no issue and it's a no-brainer to actually move.
yeah,
I can come back a few months a year to visit family and things. It's
yeah,
it depends where your priorities are.
exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons I stayed out of the country the US as long as I did is because, I just don't like paying taxes. So there's like $100,000 write-off. Like when you're out of the country out of the United States for 11 months out of the year, you basically what they call an expat. The
Yeah,
first tax deduction that you get is $100,000. Well, I never spend more than $100,000 on myself. Never. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
In a year, I mean, you don't see the gold dangling off me, right? So you so I'm not dripping in gold. In many ways, I'm a modest person in the way that I live my life, but I do like to go to five-star hotels and things like that. But in Asia, it's only $200 or $300 a night for the same kind of luxury you get in the US for $2,000 or $3,000 a night. So, so yeah, uh, I'm planning on going back
Yeah,
to the
but
Philippines. I'm here for now, but I'm not going to be here forever.
yeah, but Ace,
Yeah.
what if you keep everything on the cryptocurrency side? You still you don't get hit with that tax.
Well, I mean, it really depends on who you ask, if you know what I'm saying? Because advice comes in many different layers, right? So there's the guy who's a CPA who's going to give you like the by the book, you know, and they basically work for the IRS as far as I'm concerned. And then there's the guy who's just, is more like streetwise, and tells you how it is from that angle, right?
Yeah.
You know, but the bottom line is if you have the attitude, if you start, I'm just telling you, Garfield, the attitude is the starting point. You have to start with the attitude, you don't own pool funding coins. You're not the owner of them. You have to have the attitude.
I understand.
As
I
long
understand that. I understand where you come from with that.
then you can wrap it with whatever you need to wrap it, but that's going to be your choice, and we're going to just simply we're going to help people understand what those choices might be. Maybe make it easier for them to, guidance, you know. So that's what we want to be, that kind of a resource. Pool funding wants to become that kind of a resource. Does that make sense, Garfield?
Yes, sir.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, good deal. We want you to be happy.
Just on crypto, Ace.
Yeah,
Just on crypto in Australia, it's going to be interesting in the next 12, 18 months. The ATO is actually going to court. I'm not sure if it's a government that's taken them to court, but the High Court's going to end up having to make a ruling on whether Bitcoin is actually an asset or currency.
right.
So if they come down on the currency side, that may change a lot of things around the world as well.
True. Yep. And
Because at the moment it's just treated like shares and stuff. So
And,
yeah.
and ultimately, we want our pool funding coins to develop into a full-blown currency, but no crypto ever starts out that way, So it always starts out as like an idea, and it goes from there. So here's the deal, guys. This is not a short path that we're on. Okay, we're on a long path, and as long as check, but check in properly. When I tell you an attitude matters, it does. Okay. Now take, for example, the people among us who are sellers. Okay. The people that are selling prematurely, we've told them not to sell, right? But if they sold anyway, then if they ever had to make the argument that they're just controlling the asset, they're not the owner of the asset, then the coins that they've already sold could be brought up into the question of what about that, you know? So this is what I'm talking about. So we just want people to realize that let the accumulation happen. Generally speaking, that shouldn't be a problem because at the bottom line is the foundation is what we're going to set up, and basically anything in your wallet could be a decentralized part of that treasury, and that could be the first blanket, if you will, of kind of in the structure. But again, the structure is something that doesn't exist yet. It will exist pretty soon. I'm thinking sooner than later, right? So most likely like this year be set up. So Janet T, go ahead. Got your hand up. You put your hand up, Janet, so that means you can unmute. Okay, maybe she doesn't know how to unmute. Maybe she accidentally raised her hand. Okay, so here's how I approach things. I never approach things from a point of fear, okay? Because fear will actually taint the result, by the way. You always have to approach things from a point of view of, the universe is working, in my behalf, right? So as long as you just think the universe loves you and that it's there to work in your behalf, right? As long as you have that point of view, then you realize there's nothing to fear. Okay? So if your basis of reality comes from fear, a lot of things, the way your perception and the way that you draw things into your life, even things that you may not realize you're drawing them in because there's like these invisible strings, right? Entanglement, okay, that you may not be realized that it exist. See, our senses don't pick up on those strings, but the strings are there. Okay, quantum mechanics has made that pretty clear. So, but fear has a way of drawing in things that we don't want. Instead, you should come from a place of hope, from a place of faith, just belief, positive belief. And if you do that, you realize that any process that we have to go through is actually a good thing, right? And it's never something to be concerned about in the sense that, oh, we have a process to go through. But I will tell you this, those people that are prematurely selling, they're kind of setting themselves up in a difficult situation. Okay. That's all I can say there. Okay. They don't know what they don't know what they don't know, right? They're just out there prematurely selling, but frankly, they're selling for nickels and dimes anyway. So I don't think they have to worry about a tax bill on the stuff that they've sold because they've been selling for nickels and dimes. But the bottom line is how much they could have gotten instead if they would just cooperate. So here's another reason to call for cooperation. Okay. By cooperating, then we can stay on this side of the line. And if the majority of us are solid on this side of the line, then when we go to make a case, if it's ever questioned what we're doing, we can say, well, together we stayed on this side of the line, on the right side of things. Okay. And this is why these trainings matter. This is why people need to take this serious because we're literally trying to turn each of you not into millionaires, but into multimillionaires and beyond. Okay? I mean, there's no limit to what we could be doing here together based on the amount of time ahead of us. You say 20 years. What could be done in 20 years? Okay, a lot. A lot. I mean, a lot. Okay, could be done in 20 years. And so when you're looking at that kind of time and you're looking at how this is going to, benefit you, over the long run, then yeah, it's important that we pay attention to structure in the early stages. So now we're moving from a very simple terms and conditions kind of a arrangement where we're just acknowledging that we've gathered some key people together, roll this thing out, but we'd like to have 10,000 co-founders. Honestly, this would be so much better if we really had 10,000 really serious people right now. So we need to add to our group fast, okay? The sooner the better, okay? So this is the right time to bring people in and say this is a serious opportunity, and then show them that we are looking at becoming a solid operation, as compliant as possible, right? In the sense that we still come out winning, right? And let's just have the faith that other people have done what we want to do, and we're just going to figure out what they did and duplicate what works, right? I don't think we actually need to completely reinvent the wheel. I think that 90% of what we do probably could be just following what's already working, and maybe a little bit of reinventing the wheel is okay. How's that sound, guys? Yeah?
Sounds
Sounds
excellent.
great. Sounds
Okay.
great.
Well, this is what's on my
Sounds great.
mind. I don't have all the answers. It's a journey. But look, everything matters. Now, again, don't forget the motivation, okay? What's motivating us? So I made that very clear at the 2nd-year anniversary that I believe that we need to gather as quickly as possible and deal with something that's heading our way, okay? There's a movement that is based on an agenda called transhumanism, and I pretty much think that all of our members are going to be unified on the idea that we're basically not interested in participating in transhumanism. We believe it's a flawed idea, that it would be destructive, not actually something worth believing in. So yeah, and trust me, the marketing of transhumanism is going to get more and more what they might call in marketing or advertising sexy. It's going to get much sexier as you start watching movies and you start seeing TV shows where people are getting implants. They're going to make it look like it's a smart idea, a good idea. But believe me, If you just go to your inner self and ask your inner self that question, is this going to be right for me or not? I'm pretty sure you get the same answer I get, and that's a hell no, you know? This is a hell no, right? It's not right. Not right to change what's already here. There's maybe perhaps some talents and gifts and some whatever that's not even yet come out to the surface, that because most people who walk around they don't have any idea what they are. That's why I keep going back to that one question, what are you? Because if once you know an idea about what that is, once you have the right answer to what are you, then you start to realize you're much, much more than a robot. Okay? You're not a robot. You're way better than that. Okay? So don't let the world con you into something that's not good for you. Okay? So since we see that the jobs are disappearing, there's an Agenda 2030. They're very clear about that. And so there's a real need for what we're doing, but we're small, we're tiny. Right now, we're not anything that has any power or strength to do anything today. We're just coming out of the idea level, right? But it's the intention. That's the whole point of today's meeting. Let's make the intention clear. Okay, here's our intent. Our intent is compliance to a point. Okay, that we want to take the path that leads to abundance for our members. Okay, but do so in a way that fits around the world. Okay, and everything we've been doing because we believe it's a good way to do it. Based on the alternatives. So that's how it's going to go. And the intent is very clear. And the and uh, I just believe that there's going to be such a huge need to do it exactly this way. Okay? To do it exactly this way, the need around the world is we'll have no problem getting members. Okay? Because this is the right way to do it. That's the plan. All right. Okay, I know a lot of chats are going on, but I hope all of you have put in your wallet address that are here for paid training and you're able to collect your paid training. Okay. And yeah, the world's changing fast, and we want to get ahead of that curve, and we want to not just protect people. We want people to thrive. We want people to ultimately, like we've talked about before, the luxury economy. That's the big win. Okay. So this map that we're talking about here, where we're going from here to here to here to here, at the destination ultimately is the luxury economy for the planet Earth, that we can drive it into place and create that for humanity, and then humanity ends up, doing some things that I think are common sense. You know, if we have all this tech and we have all this, I mean, between robotics and artificial intelligence and all that, that can actually do most of the work that humanity's been doing, slaving away for, millennia. If robots and AI can take over all that, then why shouldn't we live in luxury? Shouldn't that be the reward, right? For creating the tech, right? That should be the reward, that humanity gets to live in luxury as a result of finding a way to get machines or whatever to do the work, you know? So that's the plan. So I hope I've made it very clear that we've got a pathway to follow. And I'm open to people reaching out to me. I've had several people already reach out to me, and it's what brought this top of mind for me. And we're marching forward. But this now becomes like a big part of, of the discussion moving forward. Okay. I'm kind of thinking Wednesday, maybe we'll have a well meeting. Okay. So if those of you that are wells, you know, uh, I know it's kind of short notice. How many of you would show up to a well meeting? We can drill down on this a little more in a well meeting on Wednesday.
I
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm in for that.
All right.
Sure thing.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll have another well
Yes,
meeting
great
to
idea.
talk about this. Let's thank the wells for, providing the resources, that they have to get us to this point. And, everyone's contribution, even the smallest person is, we appreciate everyone, of course, right? But the majority of funding has come from the wells. And so, but yeah, we'll have a meeting on this then on Wednesday. I guess that would be the 12th, right? Tuesday is the 11th and Wednesday, the 12th. So Wednesday the 12th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. So I'll have my graphic artist put together a poster and make sure everybody gets invited to that. That's a well. Okay. So if you are a well, then you're invited to the meeting. If you're not a well, then you miss out on that kind of stuff. So hey, maybe you might want to figure out. I want to show you a little thing here. Let me give you a little tip, guys. So many of you are so close to being a whale. It's not even funny, you know. I'm laughing because like, why aren't you a whale, right? You're so close. Why don't you do this? So if you go into the explore button here and go to holding, okay. All right. So technically, if we go, let's go PFB, okay. Top 100. Okay, there we go. Scott, I believe this has all been corrected. So that one issue you brought up before has been corrected. Okay. If not, talk about it later. All right.
Okay.
So this is too big.
I think
All right, minus it out. We just had a big typhoon in the Philippines, so it was really hard to communicate with those guys over there. I'm going to change this to 25. Okay. So let's take a look at 50 here. All right. So basically $700. Okay. So that, to be number 50. But what happens if you're number 51? Okay. If you're number 51, for basically $7, okay, the difference between 700 and 693, okay, is $7. So this person literally, this one right here, that person right there for $7 could become a whale just by buying the PFP coin, $7 worth, and they pop right into the whale spot. Okay. I mean, even you go down a little ways here, 500. Okay. So for $200, this person for $200 could bump themselves up to well status. Okay. Because 500 to 700. Let's just go all the way to 100 here. Okay. All right, 231. So basically for $470, this person that's 100, for $470 they could become a whale. Okay. All right. So each person has an option to do what they got to do to get in there. Okay. The options there, you got 4 coins. You can investigate each one of the coins, see how much coin you got already, and then find the one that's going to cost you the least, and then do it. And then connect with Nancy. Nancy is the well liaison. Nancy, are you here?
Yes, Kuya, I'm here. Hello,
All right.
everyone.
Are you presentable? You can go on video. Yes or
Not
no?
yet, Kuya.
Okay. Well, from now on, I want you to be presentable for these meetings, okay? So when you don't just come here and be, in the background. Since I'm over here,
Okay.
I'm leaning on you to be more visible. Okay. All right. But you know how girls are. If their lipstick isn't on or whatever, they don't want to be out there like I understand. I get it. I totally get it. Okay. All right. So oh, good to see Alan Bond with his the two of you there. So Australia. Good to see you guys. All right.
Great call, Ace. Thank you. Thank you for the guidance.
You're welcome. So
And Graham,
I'll get that video up on the website so that and people understand that taxes is something that we're going to be dealing with. We have to find a way to reduce that as much as possible for all of us. Okay. I mean, nobody wants to pay more than they have to, right? So, and yeah, so that's the deal there. And the more compliant you are with what I'm telling you, like if I give direction or I do the training, I say, do this, don't do that, don't do that, it becomes even more important. I hope you understand how serious it is what we're trying to do here. Okay. We're trying to create a pathway for humanity, not to be brought into an agenda that's just, to me, it's an evil agenda, and we're trying to do it in a way that we can't be, torn down, taken apart, messed up. We're trying to do it in a way it is compliant, you know what I'm saying? And trust me, that path exists, okay? As much as we're going to go to try and find that path, the path, it already exists. I know it exists. You can just trust that the universe is already, the path is there. It's a matter of discovery and then walking the path. But it's so important that we understand to follow direction. When we say don't sell any of our coins, it matters on multiple levels. It matters. There's the time to sell and there's the time not to sell. Right now, all of our coins, PML, all of them, all four of the pool funding coins, all the coins right now don't sell. Okay, we're trying to have a smooth transition. And we consider people that are selling unworthy of actually probably taking this journey with us. So we're probably going to have to root people out who are just not going to want to comply. So just be aware that we are going to be making it so that when you do transactions on the lending website, it's going to take a picture of you, just like it does on pool funding. Okay, because we got to root some of these guys out that are just not going to be, they're not going to take the long ride with us. To the grand destination of the luxury economy. Okay, so we're going to go from here to the luxury economy. It's not a short journey, but it is something that can be rewarding. Now you can get cash flow now, right, through our website, pool funding website. You can accumulate, you can get gains, pretty good gains on the lending website. Okay, you can accumulate some nice gains there in a short period of time. And then overall, you have this transition between the old coin and the new coin that could be just a huge benefit, right? But it may take a year or two to actually realize, in something you can put in your pocket and do something with it. But all the same, it's going to be worth it. Okay, we've got all the bases covered. Just realize if you have a need now, focus on building the team. We need more people to join us, right? As you bring people in, your referrals pay you. $11 a day adds up to $4,000 a year. That's the value of one referral. Come on, guys. We can't dismiss that. That's valuable. $11 a day. And all they have to do is get one person below them to pay $11 a day, and then it's not like no big deal. It's easy for someone to pay $11 a day if they got one person below them paying them $11 a day. As soon as you have two, now you've got positive cash flow. So guys, selling the coin is not the answer to cash flow. Using our website as we teach you how to do it, that's the proper way to do it. Okay, I'm going to finish on that. That's my final thought. I'm not going to take any more questions or answers. It's been a long meeting anyway. We're just going to close it out here. And I hope the intentions of where we're going are super, super clear right now. Okay, because that matters. Okay. All right, guys. We can all unmute and say bye. How about that? Everybody just say goodbye, good night, good morning, whatever. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
everyone.
Bye.
Everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a good one.
Good night.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Love you.